What is going on, guys? It is Daniel Wright, and you are here listening to another episode of Paving the Way. Guys, as always, I appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you jumping on here today and listening in. So, as you know, we got number 2 of the year coming right now. I appreciate everyone who tuned in last week for the top lessons of 2024 going into 2025. And this week, I want to talk a little bit, kind of expanding on those a little bit into more or less kind of my theme for the year. And that's the title of this show today, that mediocrity will no longer be tolerated. I think, after doing some reflection on, the top lessons of last year, I think a lot of those lessons that I learned, some of those things were, recognizing negative traits or negative thoughts or anything like that was not where I wanted them to be. And so what I realized is, as I was diving into those and figuring out, okay, well, how do we actually improve on these? How do we take these lessons and turn them into, to triumphs and to achievements and accomplishments for going into 2025? And it kept coming to mind that mediocrity just can't be tolerated. It can't be tolerated personally. It can't be tolerated professionally or anywhere in between. So today, let's go ahead, jump into that and talk about why mediocrity cannot and will not be tolerated. All right, guys, welcome back. Mediocrity. All right, we're going to jump right into it this week. This one's got to be short and sweet because, to be honest, I'm running a little bit tight on time, and I want to make sure that I get this message out to you guys because I think it'll be good to set the pace for the year talking about this. As I mentioned before the intro video, which, again, as usual, huge shout out to Randy for that. I love it. It gets me excited, that 22 seconds of pure bliss between hearing my voice at the intro and getting into the meat and potatoes of it. Appreciate it, buddy. But mediocrity, right? A lot of the lessons that I learned from last year came from accepting mediocrity in my life. And I think going into this year and going into really just life going forward, not just this year, but as I move forward in life, I'm realizing that things get a little bit more difficult in my life the less I tolerate mediocrity, right? Because it gets harder. Mediocre is easy. Average is easy. The status quo is easy. As we try to raise the standards, as I try to raise the bars in my life, things do get more difficult. But on the backside of it, the rewards and the results become much more fruitful. So from a personal standpoint, when I say that mediocrity will no longer be tolerated, it's things such as friends, family, fitness, relationships, right? How many of you can probably relate to the fact that you have friends that when you talk to them, when you spend time with them, when you check up with them on social media, whatever it is, they just feel like they bring you down, right? Not because they're going through a hard time or, they're hitting a rough spot in their life, but just because they always seem to be operating at that average level, that mediocre level. They never want to get to that next gear, that next level in their life that is above mediocrity. And so when you spend time with them and you're putting in that effort and that energy to nourish your relationship that you have, chatting with them, helping them, guiding them, just, whatever it may be. And you're spending that time together and you go away feeling like you just had energy sucked out of you. It's more than likely because they're operating at a mediocre level compared to you. All right. Because I can even tell you that there's times that I spend with people who are trying to get where I'm at in my life. That doesn't mean I'm up here on this, pedestal or anything like that. It just means that maybe I'm a few years ahead of them in their journey or in their life, whatever it might be. But when I spend time with them and they're actively trying to push and they're trying to grind and they're trying to develop themselves into the best versions they can be, I walk away from those times spent with them energized because they're pushing past the mediocrity in their life and it rubs off. Whereas when I go spend time with the people who are the suckers of energy, I feel like I'm just wore out. Like they literally suck the energy out of you because they try to pull you down to where they're at and make you think it's okay to live mediocre. It's okay to live average. And if that's who you want to surround yourself by because that's what you like and that's what you appreciate, then by all means, have at it. It takes all types of people to make this world go around. But I can tell you that in my life, my friends, the people I'm going to spend my time with, the circle keeps getting smaller the higher I want to climb. And it's because the higher you want to go in your life, the less people are wanting to go along for that journey. Now, they'll be there for the results, they'll be there for the rewards, they'll be there for the applause, but they don't necessarily always want to take part in the journey. And so as you're continuing to rule out mediocrity in your friends, you're going to notice that the friend group you have probably is going to shrink. You're not going to spend as much time with as many people as you did previously, and that's okay. That's what progress looks like. Because in order to achieve the next level, you have to let go of the current level. And that's a tough dichotomy to get into, right? And that could be a whole podcast in itself, is the dichotomy of moving levels in life. But I can tell you right now that I'm taking massive inventory in my friend group and the people that I spend my time with and my energy with to determine, are these people trying to level up and move up in life above mediocre, or are they perfectly happy with the status quo? When it comes to family, right, that's where it gets a little sticky too, because everybody thinks that just because you're born into a family, because you were birthed by someone, because you were raised by someone, means that you have to accept them as this, this end all be all, this example, this role model, whatever it might be in your life. And the truth of the matter is you don't. There's nothing actually that says anywhere in the world that says that just because someone is a family member of yours, that means you have to accept their way of living as yours. It does not mean that you have to go for their approval or hold yourself back so you don't make them feel bad, or whatever issue you may have that's holding you back because a family member of yours may be living a mediocre lifestyle compared to what you want to live. It may be great for them, but if it's not what you want, don't accept it. And so when I sit and take an inventory, I'm fortunate to have a family that the majority of folks that I'm surrounded by in my family growing up, they are always trying to push. They're always trying to learn. They're trying to grow and trying to progress. Yes, there's individuals that have had their lives and that they enjoy them. They run those routes, they run those paths, and they're happy with it. And I'm happy for them. But that doesn't mean I'm going to spend an excess amount of time with or around them. And that's okay. You can still be happy for someone where they're at in their life as a family member or as a friend, but that doesn't mean you have to spend an exponential amount of time with them and end up having their ways of living or their viewpoints start to rub off on you. So I'm taking note of the family members that I have, that I talk to regularly. And the conversations that I have with those family members are likely changing, right? I know for a fact I've had conversations just in the last week or two that have just been a little bit different, a little bit more direct, a little bit more forthcoming, a little bit more honest, and just getting real with people. Because going into this not tolerating mediocrity part of my life is going to require those honest conversations. It's going to require those real conversations that are only going to allow growth to occur. And whether that's growth together or growth separately, that's all dependent on how the conversation actually unfolds. And then when it comes to, fitness, right? That's another example that anybody who knows me knows that, yes, I have made it a priority to work out, to be physically active, to try to remain physically fit. But could I do better? Have I just been accepting a mediocre result in my personal fitness, in my nutrition, how I treat my body, right? Mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever it may be. Have I been accepting mediocre because it's gotten me by? Because it puts me maybe a little bit better than the others, but I also know that I'm not quite doing what I'm fully capable of. And so I have to take that evaluation and say, all right, where can I make improvements? For me, it's diet, right? It's nutrition. The joke that I always tell people when they ask me why I try to work out every day, I say it's so I can eat whatever I want and still look good naked. That's the answer I give. And so I think I'm starting to get to a point where maybe I need to pay attention to what I eat. Maybe I need to pay attention to the blood results, the lab work that comes back when you get your annual physical, and not just necessarily how you look in the mirror. And so I need to take more accountability and more proactive steps to make sure that my fitness, my nutrition, like I said, physically, mentally, emotionally, is all at its highest levels that I'm capable of giving it right now. Because I also know that I'm going into a season of life that's going to require the absolute best of me in order to get the best results, so that way the people that are counting on me can have the best version of their lives. And if I don't take care of myself at my highest levels of capabilities, then I'm selling them short in the long run, right? And so I have to take account on that. And you probably do too, because there's very few people I know that are actually watching this right now that are operating at their peak state, of their fitness, of their nutrition, mentally, physically, emotionally, taking care of themselves the best they possibly can. And so it's always a big thing at the beginning of the year to jump on a fitness journey and get yourself in shape. It's everybody's New Year's resolutions, but I just challenge you to actually take it seriously. What do you need to do? What do you need to change, start doing, stop doing, anywhere in between to make sure that you are the best version of you when it comes to your whole being? Because you cannot provide the best lives for those who count on you if you're not the best version of you. And that starts with your fitness. It starts with your nutrition. So make sure to keep that in mind. And then relationships as a whole, right? All the relationships that we have in our lives, whether they're the friendships, the family members, the peers, the people we're friends with online, whatever it is, every relationship we have works in our life in its own individual way. And like I said about friends and family and the people you spend time with, those relationships that you have, you need to audit those. You need to make sure that the networking groups you're a part of, the social media pages you follow, the cars and coffee that you go hang out on Saturday mornings, whatever it may be, those relationships and those groups that you're a part of, are they filled with people who are trying to go where you're going or who've already gotten to where you want to go? Because if they're not, again, you're accepting mediocre. You're accepting less than great for your life. I'm not a parent. I don't have kids, but man, I can only imagine if I did, and they start to get to an age where they realize that, Dad, you're kind of hanging around with losers. Dad, the people that you go spend time with, they're always complaining or griping, and they're never actually like happy. Why do you hang out with them? So ask yourself that. If you're a parent, what do your kids see? If you're a leader, what do the people who you lead see? Do they see you setting standards and holding to those in your social groups, your peer groups, your day-to-day life? Because if they don't see you holding those standards of accepting more than mediocrity, accepting greatness as a expectation for to be part of your friend group or part of your peer group, then what are you showing them? So take note on that. And then when it comes to your professional life, right? Myself as a leader in my company, I have been accepting mediocrity because the market, the world, the economy, whatever you might want to call it, has been rewarding our business with consistent growth year over year. And yes, I know that there's been work that I have put in that I don't give myself enough credit for that has allowed us to continue growing and allowed us to continue thriving and just becoming that big player, that go-to service provider in our industry. Yes, I know that I have put in the work for it, but I also know that I haven't been trying my hardest. I also know that there's been days where the boxes get checked, but they don't get checked with force and with enthusiasm. There's been days where I've been expected to come to the table at a weekly meeting and bring something for the team, and I'm just there to participate. How can I make sure that I'm taking myself to a level that excellence is the expectation? Day in and day out, regardless of how I feel. That's what I need to have as my expectation, because there's going to be the days where we're off key. There's going to be the days where we're a little, we're not on our A game for whatever reason. But on those days, if excellence is our expectation that we require of ourselves daily, on the days that we have no control over, hey, it's just one of those days. We're sick. We had a family member pass away. We have a personal issue going on. On those days where we're not operating at 100%, we're still going to be operating at 90, 95. And we're still going to be great. Because if you accept mediocrity as your acceptable levels, on the days where you're even lower than that, you're really going to just be crappy. And nobody's going to want to be around you. Nobody's going to listen to you. Nobody's going to believe you. So as a leader, I have to hold myself accountable to making sure that when I'm coming in, when I'm doing my leadership duties, whatever that may be for the day, I have to be operating at the best possible level that I'm capable of. And that's a requirement. When I look at my team, my vendors, the other contractors we work with, who on the team, who in the circle is operating at levels below what I know that they're capable of? Because if they are, that's a reflection of me. And if I'm saying that our company will not tolerate mediocrity, well, then people on the team cannot tolerate mediocrity. So where do we need to raise those bars? Where do we need to raise those standards and have some of those tough conversations or those direct and honest conversations? Because the more that we have those and the more that we get on the same page with each other, the more success we're going to have as a team, the more happiness we're going to have with each other, the greater opportunities we're going to create for each other. The better we're going to be able to serve our clients and serve our network of individuals. And that leads me to the last aspect of the company, right? Professionally, we don't want to tolerate anything less, any mediocrity with our clients. The clients who want to call you and say, "Oh, just slap a Band-Aid on it for as cheap as possible," probably isn't going to be our client, because mediocre solutions is acceptable for them. The client who doesn't respond well, they don't communicate well, they take forever, they don't answer questions, whatever it is to just make our lives difficult because their level of tolerance is at a mediocre level, and it makes our lives more and more difficult. Why would we want to continue working with them? Makes no sense, right? Because there's hundreds of thousands of other individuals, other companies out there that we could work with that have higher standards of expectations for their team members. So why would we not go try and find them? So my point of all this, guys, is not tolerating mediocrity is valid in all aspects of my life, and it probably could be in yours as well. Whether you're leading a company, whether you're leading a family, whether you're leading a team of large or small quantities, it doesn't really matter. Ultimately, what matters is you're leading yourself. And if the bar that you have for yourself is that mediocre results are okay, then you're probably not getting to the levels in life that you're capable of. You're probably knowing that when you look in the mirror that you're selling yourself a little bit short, that you have more to give. Because every person on the face of this earth has someone that looks up to them. Someone somewhere is looking up to them. And if you're showing them that tolerating and accepting mediocre results in your life is acceptable, imagine what kind of failures they're going to now encounter because of the example that you set. So where in your life can you raise the bar? Where in your life should you raise the bar? Personally, professionally, and everywhere in between, all has areas that we can raise that bar, we can raise those standards and make sure that mediocrity weeds itself right out of our lives and that we only accept excellence. Because that's ultimately what we were designed to do. We were designed to be excellent. We were designed to excel. We were designed to achieve. We were designed to accomplish. And that's a firm belief that I have for every person, regardless of what role you play in your life. You are capable of more, but you will never achieve that until you own up to it, just like I have. Mediocre results have gotten me a pretty good life. Not perfect, but it's good. I can only imagine what excellent results are going to look like, not just for me, but for all the people who count on me, for all the people that I impact, that I influence. What will excellent results look like for them? What will they look like for you? So that's my message for you guys today. It's something that's been on my mind the last week or two, ever since we went into 2025. And I was planning on kind of what's my theme going to be for the year. And that's that mediocrity will no longer be tolerated. So guys, I appreciate you tuning in today. I hope this message resonated with you. If someone needs to hear this and needs to step out of that mediocre lifestyle that they've been living and step into the excellence that they're capable of, share it with them. Tag them in this, whatever you got to do, help them out. So guys, thank you again. Appreciate you tuning in. I know this one was a little bit more serious and down to the point, but like I said, I'm running a little tight on time today, so had to get down and dirty. But I appreciate you guys. I will plan on being back here next week with you. Hope you all have a great rest of your week. Keep kicking ass. Keep starting the year off strong and carry this momentum from last year into this year, and let's rock and roll. We'll see you guys soon. Take care.